My fiance gave me an ultimatum. Pay me X $18,000 or don't show up to the altar. So I did this instead. Now she is begging me to come back. Hey Reddit, 4 days before my wedding, my fiance asked me to wire 18 grand to solve a problem that wasn't mine. When I said no, she didn't take it well. Neither did I. I, 34 male, work in logistics for a mid-sized shipping company. Make decent money. Not rich, but comfortable enough to own a house in the suburbs and not stress about bills. Never been married. Came close once in my 20s, but dodged that bullet when I caught her texting her ex about how I was just stable enough until something better came along. Met Brianna 2 years ago at a mutual friend's party. She was 31, recently divorced, single mom to a 9-year-old daughter named Mia. Told me her ex was a deadbeat who never paid child support and left her struggling to make ends meet. She worked retail management, supposedly, though her hours were always weird and she missed shifts constantly for reasons that never quite added up. I fell for it. The whole struggling single mom thing. Thought I was being the good guy, the hero. Started covering expenses here and there. Rent when she came up short. Bills when she forgot to pay them. Private school tuition because public school supposedly wasn't good enough. Within 6 months, she'd moved into my place. Within a year, I'd proposed. Looking back, I'm not sure she ever actually loved me or just loved the fact that I had money and didn't ask too many questions. Should have known better. But you don't always see the red flags when you're the one holding them up. Wednesday night. I'm in my living room going over vendor confirmations for Saturday's wedding. Boring stuff. The kind of details that make you question why weddings cost more than a decent used car. Brianna's upstairs giving Mia a bath, or so I thought. House is quiet. Everything's normal. Then she comes down the stairs calm, almost rehearsed. Like she'd practiced this. That expression people get when they're about to pitch something they know is insane, but they've convinced themselves you'll accept it because you love them, or whatever justification they've got running through their head. She stands in the middle of my living room, doesn't sit, just crosses her arms and looks at me expectantly. Garrett's got a support thing. If he doesn't pay by Friday, he's in trouble. Can you wire it? Not a question. A statement. Like she was telling me to take out the trash. I looked up from my phone, stared at her for a solid 10 seconds waiting for the punchline. When it didn't come, I said, "Run that by me again." She rolled her eyes. Actually rolled her eyes at me in my own house. Garrett, child support arrears. Court date Monday. If he doesn't pay, he gets locked up for contempt. Since you're about to be Mia's stepdad and we're becoming a family unit, we need to handle this. Together. I set my phone down real slow. That thing your brain does when it's trying to process information that makes zero sense? That was happening. Hard. You want me to pay your ex-boyfriend's child support debt. The money he owes to you. For your kid. His kid. It's not for him. She walked closer, putting on that voice she used when she wanted something expensive. Think about it logically. If he gets locked up, everything gets messy for Mia. Courts, pickups, drama. I don't want that on our first week married. It's cleaner this way. She smiled like she'd just solved world hunger. It's an investment in our future. My brain lagged. I actually laughed once. Like it was a joke. It wasn't. For about 5 seconds, I just sat there processing what she'd actually just said to me. So to prove I love you, I need to bail out the guy who cheated on you during your entire relationship. The same guy you've called a deadbeat, a narcissist, and a pathetic excuse for a father about 400 times since I've known you. It's part of being a provider, Landon. Her voice went cold. The act was over. That's literally what men do. You fix problems. You take care of family issues. That's the deal you signed up for. She wasn't asking anymore. She was telling me. So are you wiring the money? Or do I need to start calling vendors and canceling everything? Your call. Clock's ticking. I looked at her standing there in my living room, in the house I bought, that she'd been living in rent-free for 18 months while contributing exactly nothing except attitude and credit card bills. Something clicked in my head. 2 years of this. 2 years of being her personal ATM. I'd covered her rent 6 times before she moved in with me, paid off $9,000 in credit card debt from before we even met, dropped 12 grand on private school for a kid that wasn't mine because public school wasn't good enough for little Mia, covered car payments, phone bills, emergency expenses that were never actually emergencies, bought her a $4,000 engagement ring that she picked out herself and then complained wasn't big enough. The engagement ring alone had taken 2 months of overtime, and now she was standing here demanding I pay her ex's child support because that was my job as a man. You know what? I said. I don't think so. Her face went blank, like I'd just spoken a language she didn't understand. Excuse me? I said no. If Garrett owes money, Garrett can figure it out. Or you can. But I'm not writing that check. Not today, not ever. I pulled out my phone and started scrolling through my contacts. What are you doing? Her voice went up 3 octaves. Panic mode activated. Calling the venue. Don't you dare. She stepped toward me, reaching for the phone. I moved it out of her reach. Landon, we have people flying in from 6 states. My whole family bought plane tickets. You'll embarrass yourself. You'll humiliate me. Everyone will think you're insane. Watch. The phone rang twice before someone picked up. Stone Ridge Events, how may I help you? Yeah, hi, Landon. I need to cancel the wedding scheduled for Saturday. All of it. Ceremony, reception, everything. Dead silence on both ends. Brianna's face went white. Sir, I need to confirm. You're canceling the wedding? That's correct. Send me the cancellation confirmation by email. I understand the deposits are non-refundable. Are you absolutely certain about this decision? Completely certain. Thanks for your time. I hung up. Brianna stood there making these weird choking sounds like she couldn't get enough air. For about 3 seconds, she couldn't form words. Then she found them. You psychotic jerk. Her voice was barely above a whisper at first. Then it started climbing. You actually did it. Over 18 grand? You make that in 2 weeks. You just threw away 2 years over what's basically pocket change to you? No, we're done. Get your stuff and go. I live here. Now she was screaming. Full volume. You can't just kick me out. I have rights. I'll call the cops right now. She grabbed a decorative bowl off the side table. Some ceramic thing her mother gave us as an early wedding gift. Probably cost $200. She spiked it on the hardwood like she was in the end zone. It exploded into about 50 pieces. I have rights. You're not on the deed. You're not on the mortgage. You haven't paid a single bill in 6 months. Legally, you're a guest who's overstayed their welcome. My hands wouldn't stay still. I checked my watch. You've got 30 minutes to pack and leave. Mia is upstairs sleeping. You want to traumatize an 11-year-old? You want that on your conscience? Mia's at your mom's place. Has been since yesterday afternoon. You dropped her off so you could get your nails done and go shopping, remember? I tilted my head. Don't use your kid as a human shield. Makes you look even worse than you already do. That broke something in her. The anger cracked and I saw real panic underneath. The tears started. Not real tears. Tactical tears. The kind she'd weaponized about 100 times when she wanted something and I wasn't moving fast enough. She dropped to her knees right there in the broken ceramic. Didn't even flinch when the sharp pieces cut into her skin. Baby, please. I'm stressed. The wedding planning, the family drama, Garrett's garbage. I didn't mean it like that. I just need him handled so we can be happy together. Please. I love you. Don't do this. I looked down at her. At this person I'd been planning to marry in 4 days. This stranger kneeling in broken ceramic and crocodile tears. 28 minutes. She spent the next 27 minutes cycling through every manipulation tactic in the book. Crying, screaming, threatening, begging, back to screaming. It was almost impressive how predictable the pattern was. She was going to tell everyone I hit her. She was going to post about me on every social media platform and ruin my reputation. She was going to make sure I never saw Mia again, even though I had 0 legal rights to the kid anyway. She was going to sue me for emotional distress and take everything I owned. She was going to call my boss and tell him I was abusive. On and on. I sat on my couch and watched her throw clothes into trash bags while she cursed out my entire bloodline. Didn't respond, didn't react, just waited. You think you're so smart? She was stuffing shoes into a garbage bag with enough force to probably damage half of them. You think you can just use me and throw me away? I gave you 2 years of my life. You gave me 2 years of expenses. That's what you gave. That's what providers do. That's what men are supposed to do. You don't get to act like I'm some kind of burden. You're right. I was supposed to provide. For my partner. Not for a dependent adult with the spending habits of a lottery winner and the gratitude of a spoiled teenager. At exactly the 30-minute mark, she was standing at my front door with 4 trash bags and a look that could have melted steel. This isn't over. You don't just get to throw me out and move on with your life. I'm not done with you. Yeah, you are. Goodbye, Brianna. The door slammed hard enough to rattle the picture frames on the wall. I locked the deadbolt, then the chain, then dragged a chair from the kitchen and wedged it under the door handle. Probably paranoid. Didn't care. My phone started ringing before I even made it back to the couch. Unknown number, local area code. Against my better judgment, I answered. Yeah. Have you lost your mind? Kelsey, Brianna's sister, already screaming. No buildup, just straight to maximum volume. Brianna just called me sobbing. She can barely breathe. She says you hit her and threw her out in the middle of the night like she's garbage. She's lying. Just like she lied about needing money for Mia's soccer equipment when the league provides it free. Just like she lied about her car needing $1,500 in repairs when it was actually $400. Just like she lied about literally everything for the past 2 years. She's on the street, Landon. You can't just evict your fiancée because she asked for help. She didn't ask for help. She gave me an ultimatum. Pay her deadbeat ex's child support or the wedding's off. That's not asking for help. That's extortion. She's trying to keep Mia's father out of jail. She's thinking about her daughter. Then Garrett can pay his own child support. That's literally the definition of child support. Or maybe you can write the check, Kelsey. Your husband's a surgeon. He makes triple what I do. If it's such a reasonable family expense, you cover it. Silence. The kind of silence you get when someone's own logic gets thrown back in their face and they don't have a comeback. That's different, she finally said. How? Explain to me how that's different. Because from where I'm sitting, it sounds like you want me to solve a problem you wouldn't touch with your own money if someone paid you. You're going to regret this. My sister deserves better than you. She's welcome to go find it. I hung up, blocked her number, then Brianna's number, then her mother's number, then her aunt's number, because that woman had spent 2 years making passive-aggressive comments about how Brianna settled for me, and I was done pretending not to notice. The house was quiet, actually quiet. No demanding voice asking for money. No kid yelling about homework. No dramatic sighs when I said no to something. For the first time in 2 years, the silence was free. Thursday morning hit different. I woke up in an empty house, made coffee without someone complaining about the brand I bought, and drove to work in complete silence, instead of listening to Brianna list all the things she needed money for that week. I was at my desk by 7:30, trying to focus on inventory reports that needed to be finished by Friday. Numbers on spreadsheets. Supply chain logistics. Normal work stuff that usually keeps my brain occupied. Around 10:40, my desk phone rang. Reception. She sounded terrified. Mr. Landon? There's a woman in the lobby. She's screaming. Security is trying to contain her, but she just jumped the turnstile. She says she's your fiancé. She's coming up right now. My stomach dropped. Call the cops. Already did, sir. 15 seconds later, my office door exploded inward. The handle smashed into the wall hard enough to leave a dent. Brianna came in like a hurricane, hair wild and unbrushed, makeup from yesterday smeared down her face. Same clothes from last night, wrinkled and stained. Behind her, 2 security guards were hustling to catch up, but she'd gotten enough of a head start to make this as dramatic as possible. The entire floor went silent. Every head in every cubicle turned to watch the show. Some people were already filming. 3 cubicles down, Rick was already texting me. Security says she bit one of them in the elevator. I didn't respond. Couldn't take my eyes off the disaster unfolding. You canceled the cards? She screamed it loud enough for everyone to hear. I tried to buy gas this morning and it declined. At the pump. In front of everyone. How dare you embarrass me like that? I stood up. Didn't raise my voice. Didn't move toward her. You need to leave. Right now. I need money. My sister won't take me in. My mom's apartment is too small. And you threw me out with nowhere to go. Her voice cracked. Not from emotion. From rage. After everything I did for you, you owe me. I owe you nothing. Security, get her out. One of the guards, a big guy, stepped forward and grabbed her arm. Professional but firm. Ma'am, you need to come with us. She spun around and spit in his face. Full on hawked a loogie right at him. The office gasped. Phones were definitely recording now. This was going to be the talk of the company for months. Someone from accounting actually gasped out loud. Janet, the same woman who'd RSVP'd to the wedding with a +1. Don't touch me! I'll sue this entire building! Then she turned back to me and dropped what she clearly thought was her nuclear option. I'm pregnant, Landon. Said it loud enough for the back row to hear. You hear me? I'm pregnant with your baby. You don't get to cut me off. I'm carrying your child. The whole floor froze. I could see my coworkers in my peripheral vision, mouths hanging open, probably already mentally drafting the group chat messages. I looked at her, let the moment breathe, made sure everyone was paying attention. I had a vasectomy 4 years ago, Brianna. Way before we met. Got it done after my ex tried to baby trap me the first time. I paused for effect, smiled just a little. So if you're pregnant, which I seriously doubt, it's definitely not mine. Maybe you should ask Garrett. Seems like you two have been closer than you let on. Her face went from red to white in about 2 seconds. You're lying. You would have told me. Why? You said you were done having kids. It never came up. I nodded to security. Get her out of my building. Now. They weren't gentle this time. The guard had lost any sympathy he might have had after getting spit on. They grabbed her arms and started dragging her toward the elevator. She kicked. She screamed. She made threats about lawsuits and police reports. The elevator doors closed on her, still screaming something about me being a narcissist. The office slowly returned to normal. People pretending they weren't just watching the most dramatic scene in company history. I closed my office door, sat down. My hands were shaking. Not from fear, from pure adrenaline. My phone buzzed. Text notification from my bank. Fraud alert. Attempted wire transfer of $18,750 from checking account ending in 6394 to external account. Transaction blocked due to security hold. Please contact us immediately to verify. She'd tried to steal the money herself. Probably right before storming into my office. Must have gotten my banking passwords from watching me log in over the past 2 years. I called the bank, reported the fraud, had them lock down everything, changed every password, every security question, every recovery option. Then I called my lawyer and told him we had a problem. Document everything, he said. Every text, every email, every interaction. She's going to escalate. They always do when the money supply gets cut off. I was starting to see that. That night, I was home eating leftover pizza, standing over the sink like the suddenly single man I was, when my doorbell rang. I checked the security camera feed on my phone. Beat up GMC Sierra in my driveway. Engine sounded like it was held together with duct tape and prayer. Guy getting out looked exhausted. Big dude, probably 6'2", wearing work clothes covered in drywall dust. Garrett, the deadbeat. The child support dodger. The guy I was supposedly meant to save from jail. I grabbed the baseball bat I'd started keeping by the door and answered with the chain still on. Yeah? Landon? He looked at me through the gap, eyes bloodshot and tired. I'm Garrett, Mia's dad. I think we need to talk. If you're here for money, I'm calling the cops right now. He actually laughed, not a happy laugh, a bitter, exhausted laugh. Man, what money? Can you open the door? I'm not here to fight. Just worked a 14-hour shift and drove an hour to get here because I needed to see this for myself. Something in his voice. Something in how genuinely tired he looked. I opened the door, kept the bat in hand just in case. See what for yourself? Garrett stayed on the porch, kept his distance. Hands where I could see them. Look, I don't know what Brianna told you about child support arrears, but it's complete garbage. We have joint custody, 50-50. I pay her $300 a month to cover Mia's health insurance through my union. That's it. That's the whole arrangement. I'm not behind. There's no court date Monday. I'm not going to jail. My grip on the bat got tighter. She said you owed 18 grand in arrears. Said you'd be locked up for contempt. She's lying. He shook his head slow, like he was too tired to even be angry about it anymore. She's been lying about me since the divorce. Landon, she's got a gambling problem. A serious one. Online poker, sports betting, those sketchy casino apps. That's why we split. She drained my savings account back in 2020. Ran up 31 grand in credit card debt without telling me. I had to file bankruptcy just to survive. He pulled up the custody agreement on his phone, showed me the court stamps, the signatures, then the payment app history. $300, same day every month going back 3 years. Not a single missed payment. She had access to everything, he said. Joint accounts, credit cards. Didn't know about the debt until collectors started calling. Found out she'd been playing online poker for 2 years. The ground shifted under my feet. Suddenly everything made sense. The constant emergencies, the perpetual lack of money, despite me paying for literally everything. The times she needed a few hundred for something she could never quite explain. She told me you were a deadbeat, that you abandoned her and Mia, that you never paid child support, and she told me you were beating her. Garrett's voice was flat. No surprise in it. Called me about 3 hours ago, hysterical. Said you broke her ribs and threw her down the stairs. Wanted to crash at my place while she figured things out? He looked me up and down. Seeing you standing here calm and not in handcuffs, I'm guessing the assault story is about as real as the child support arrears. I never laid a hand on her, not once. Figured as much. She pulled the same garbage when we were together. Whenever she doesn't get what she wants, suddenly someone hurt her. Everyone's the villain except her. I leaned against the doorframe, processing everything. Why are you telling me this? Because I've got an 11-year-old daughter with this woman, and I'm tired of watching her destroy everyone around her. He pulled out his phone. Look, I can send you the custody agreement. Payment records, bank statements, whatever you need to see, I'm telling the truth. Yeah, do that. Just keep her away from me. I've got my own life now. New girlfriend who's actually stable, trying to keep things normal for Mia. He turned to head back to his truck, then stopped. Garrett, I called out. Heads up. She's desperate right now. I cut off her access to money and she tried to rob my bank account this morning. 18 grand. He nodded slow. Yeah, that sounds about right. Good luck, man. You're gonna need it. The truck pulled away, belching smoke from the exhaust. I went back inside, locked everything, and called my lawyer again. This is worse than I thought, I told him. She's got a gambling problem. That's what all of this is about. She needs money for debts. That makes sense, he said. Desperate people do desperate things. Be ready. She's not done yet. I was starting to get that impression. Friday night, the night before my wedding was supposed to happen. Instead of being at a rehearsal dinner, I was sitting alone in my living room at midnight, watching security camera feeds on my phone. I'd spent the day getting my defenses in order, printed every bank statement, saved every text message, downloaded every security camera recording to a backup drive, called the venue again to make absolutely sure the cancellation went through, emailed my family with a vague explanation about why the wedding was off. At 12:17 a.m., the motion sensor on my back patio triggered. I looked at the phone screen. My blood went cold. Brianna was in my backyard, swaying on her feet, clearly intoxicated. Hair was a disaster, clothes torn and dirty, and she was holding a brick. She wound up like a pitcher and launched it straight through my sliding glass door. The crash was massive. Glass exploded inward, scattering across my kitchen floor like 1,000 tiny knives. I was already dialing 911 before the second brick came through my living room window. 911, what's your emergency? Home invasion, breaking and entering. Woman just smashed through my back door. I gave the address. She's inside the house now. I'm upstairs. She may be armed. Stay where you are, sir. Officers are en route. I grabbed the bat and moved to the hallway. Below me, I could hear her stumbling through the broken glass, cursing my name. I heard her grab something metal from the kitchen. Sounded like the knife block hitting the counter. My grip on the bat tightened. Landon, where are you hiding, you coward? It didn't sound human. Didn't sound like the woman I'd proposed to a year ago. It sounded feral. I called the cops. Brianna, get out of my house. You ruined everything. Something heavy crashed downstairs. Sounded like my TV. $600 down the drain. Glass crunched under her feet as she moved through my house. I could hear her knocking things over. Picture frames. The bookshelf. She was destroying everything she could reach. You think you can just leave me with nothing? She was at the base of the stairs now. I have debts, Landon. Real debts. To real people. They're going to hurt me if I don't pay. That's not my problem. She appeared at the bottom of the stairs. Eyes wild. Makeup streaked. Bleeding from her hands where she'd cut herself on the broken glass. She was holding my laptop. A $1,200 laptop. She threw it at my head. I ducked. It sailed past me and smashed into the wall, shattering into pieces. You owe me! She screamed, charging up the stairs. I backed into the hallway. She lunged at me, clawing at my face. Nails caught my cheek and neck, drawing blood. I shoved her back. Not hard, just enough to create distance. Self-defense. She stumbled backward, hit the railing, then caught herself, and then she smiled. This horrible, twisted smile that didn't reach her eyes. You pushed me, she said, voice suddenly calculated. You just assaulted me. Now I have you. Now I can take everything. I pointed at the corner of the ceiling, at the small black dome camera that had been there for 8 months. See that? She followed my finger. The smile died instantly. Motion-activated cameras. Every room in this house, audio and video, cloud backup, they've been recording since you stepped on my property 15 minutes ago. I took a step toward her. Every word, every action, every threat, everything. The color drained from her face like someone pulled a plug. Red and blue lights flashed through the windows. Police! Everyone on the ground! Hands where we can see them! 2 cops came through the front door fast, weapons drawn. They saw the destruction. The broken glass, the bleeding woman, the scratched man with a baseball bat. One of the cops recognized the situation immediately. Domestic call, destruction visible, woman bleeding, man holding a bat. I could see him sizing up the scene, trying to figure out who the aggressor was. The security footage made that real clear, real fast. He attacked me! Brianna shrieked immediately. Look at my hands. He threw me through the window. He's been holding me hostage for hours. Ma'am, get on the ground. Hands behind your head, now. Why are you pointing guns at me? He's the criminal. He attacked me. Arrest him. Ma'am, last warning. On the ground. She didn't listen. Of course she didn't. She charged the officers, arms flailing, still screaming about how I was an abuser, and they were making a horrible mistake. The taser hit her center mass. She went down hard, body locking up, hitting the floor like a dropped bag of concrete. The next 3 hours were chaos. Paramedics, more cops arriving, crime scene techs photographing everything, EMTs checking out the scratches on my face and neck, detective taking my statement. I showed them the security footage on my phone, the brick through the door, her climbing inside, the threats, the laptop projectile, the attack, me defending myself. One of the officers, a sergeant with gray hair, watched the footage twice without saying anything. You're lucky you had this, he finally said. Without these cameras, this would have been a coin flip on who gets arrested. I know. She's looking at serious charges: breaking and entering, criminal mischief, assault, destruction of property. With the prior complaints and the attempted bank fraud, she's going away for a while. Good. The sergeant studied me for a second. You doing okay? Been better. Been worse. By the time everyone left, it was almost 5 in the morning. I sat in my destroyed living room, surrounded by broken glass, shattered electronics, and upended furniture. I ordered pizza, ate it cold at 6 a.m. while boarding up the broken windows with plywood from my garage. Heck of a rehearsal dinner. 2 days after the arrest, my phone rang at 11 at night. FaceTime. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. Brianna's face filled the screen. She was in what looked like a hotel room. Cheap one. The kind where the bedspreads have cigarette burns and you don't want to use the remote. Makeup running down her face. Eyes puffy and red. Hair unwashed and pulled back in a messy knot. Landon, please. Just listen to me for 1 minute. I propped the phone against a water bottle and went back to eating my sandwich. Didn't say anything. Just chewed and watched her spiral. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But baby, I'm literally homeless right now. My mom won't take me. Kelsey blocked my number. I'm staying at a Motel 6 that charges by the week, and I can't afford next week's rent. Her voice cracked. Full waterworks now. I have nowhere to go. No money. No options. You're the only person who ever actually cared about me. I took another bite of my sandwich. Turkey and Swiss. Pretty solid sandwich, honestly. Please say something. Anything. I'm begging you. I'll do anything. I'll pay you back every cent. I'll get help for the gambling. I'll go to therapy. I'll sign a prenup. Whatever you want. Just please don't abandon me like this. I swallowed, wiped my mouth with a napkin, finally looked at the screen. You done? She nodded desperately. Yes, I'm done. I'm listening. Just tell me what I need to do to fix this. Brianna, you called me your personal ATM for 2 years. You tried to make me pay your ex's fake child support. You gave me an ultimatum 4 days before our wedding. You tried to steal 18 grand from my bank account. You broke into my house, destroyed my property, and tried to frame me for assault. I picked up the phone, brought her face closer. And now you're homeless in a Motel 6 calling me at 11 at night, asking what you need to do to fix this? I'm desperate, Landon. Here's what you need to do. Get a job. Pay your debts. Stop gambling. Go to therapy. Build a life that doesn't require bleeding other people dry. I smiled. Not a nice smile. And do it without me. Because I'm not your bank. I'm not your backup plan. And I'm definitely not your emergency contact anymore. Please don't do this. I hung up, blocked the number, finished my sandwich in peace. The next stretch of time was a war of attrition. Brianna didn't go quietly. She fought every single charge. Hired a lawyer she couldn't afford with money. I'm pretty sure she borrowed from loan sharks. Filed for a restraining order against me, claiming I was stalking and harassing her. It got denied fast. Once they saw my security footage, I got a restraining order against her. That one stuck. She violated it 3 times in the first month. Showed up at my work again. Showed up at my house at 2 in the morning. Screaming in the driveway. Sent me 47 text messages from different numbers threatening to ruin my life. The 3rd violation was the worst. She'd shown up at my work again, this time in the parking garage. Waited by my car for 2 hours. Security finally noticed her on camera, just sitting there, staring at nothing. They called the cops before I even left the building. Each violation added more charges, more evidence, more time to her eventual sentence. Each time the cops showed up at her door, she'd apparently have some excuse ready. Wrong address. Didn't know I worked there anymore. Just wanted to apologize. The excuses got weaker each time. Court was a disaster for her. The prosecutor had my security footage, the bank fraud evidence, the text messages, the testimony from my coworkers about the office incident, the testimony from Garrett about her pattern of lying and manipulation, the testimony from her own mother about the gambling problem. The prosecutor played my security footage on a big screen TV. The whole courtroom watched her throw bricks through my windows, watched her scream threats while stumbling through broken glass, watched her charge up my stairs with murder in her eyes. Brianna's own attorney winced. They brought in her phone records, text messages to 3 different loan shark numbers in the week before the wedding, betting app transactions totaling over 40 grand in the past year. She'd been hemorrhaging money faster than I could give it to her. Her lawyer tried to paint me as a controlling abuser who drove her to a breakdown, tried to claim the security footage was doctored, tried to argue she was mentally unstable and not responsible for her action. None of it worked. The evidence was too clear, too documented. The judge wasn't sympathetic. She'd seen too many cases like this, heard too many manipulation tactics, guilty on all counts. 18 months locked up, 3 years probation after release, mandatory gambling addiction treatment, restraining order extended to 5 years, restitution for all damages to my property, just over 11 grand. I sat in that courtroom and watched her face as the sentence came down. Watched the reality hit her that she'd actually lost, that the manipulation didn't work this time, that she was actually going to jail. She looked at me from across the courtroom, not with anger, with genuine confusion, like she couldn't understand how this had happened, how the person she'd been bleeding dry for 2 years had actually stood up and fought back. I didn't smile, didn't gloat, just stood up and walked out. Outside the courthouse, Garrett was waiting. We'd become something like friends over the past few months. Trauma bonding, I guess. How'd it go? He asked. 18 months, plus probation, plus restitution. He whistled low. Dang, that's solid. Yeah, it's done. We walked to the parking lot together. Two guys who'd been chewed up and spit out by the same person, trying to figure out what came next. You doing okay? Garrett asked. Getting there. House is fixed. Bank account's recovering. Got my life back. That's good, man. That's real good. Mia was in Garrett's truck, playing on a tablet. She saw me and waved. I waved back. Sweet kid. Deserved better than the mess her mother left behind. She asks about you sometimes, Garrett said. Mia. She misses you. Yeah, I miss her too. But it's better this way? Clean break. Probably right. He unlocked his truck. You take care of yourself, Landon. You earned it. You too, man. I drove home to my quiet house. My empty house. My house that didn't have broken glass or screaming or demands for money. I ordered takeout. Watched a game. Went to bed at a reasonable hour. For the first time in 2 years, I slept through the night without waking up to check my bank account. 6 months later, my phone buzzed with a notification from the county correction system. Subject line, offender release notice. Brianna had been let out early. Good behavior. 3 months shaved off for playing nice and attending the mandatory treatment programs. The restraining order was still active. 5 years. She wasn't allowed within 100 yards of me, my house, or my workplace. Violation meant going right back inside. I deleted the notification and went back to my coffee. 2 days later, I was leaving the gym when I spotted her across the parking lot. Hair shorter, no makeup, wearing a fast food uniform. She was getting into a beat-up sedan that looked like it had seen better days. She saw me, froze for a second. I could see her calculating whether to approach, whether to try one more time to explain or apologize or whatever story she'd convinced herself would work. I pulled out my phone, made it obvious I was ready to dial. She got in her car, drove away without looking back. Smart move. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.